Let's see if the audio's working. Okay, hopefully that works. All right. Whew. What a day! What a hot, sweaty day. Well, now and it was a better earlier, but now it's hot and sweaty. I think we are up and running. Am I still on camera? Give me a second, just adjusting a few things. Just waiting for the pen to heat up. We are doing something new today, everyone. Something very new. Stand by. Double checking everything, just waiting to see who joins us, if anyone joins us yet. Okay, so let's start this right. Hey guys, Dante here, and welcome back to my channel, The Burgos Art. We are doing a Saturday night art stream because I need to redeem myself. Yours truly has spent almost the entire day struggling, and not just today, yesterday as well. Spent almost the entire good afternoon yesterday, almost the entire day today, struggling with his 3D printer, which sounds like a common occurrence with me, but actually it's not. So for the past week, my printer has been pumping out project after project after project and prototype after prototype, and I was like on a roll. I'm like, if the printer's running, then I'm running as well. And I printed 3 new complete dice books. For those of you who follow me online, you'll know about my dice books. Those are D&D plastic books that open up into dice towers. So I did that. I did a prototype for a kind of Nintendo remote that looks like, it is an ice cream bar that looks like a Nintendo remote. It is based off of an old piece of artwork I did, and I wanted to make a nice, like, 1/2 scale version of an actual Nintendo remote and turn it into a pin, and the prototype came out perfect. Then I went ahead and I printed out this wall. I designed a new mold because I'm going to be making a new latex mold. Not latex, sorry, silicone mold. So I need a shell to put it in. I designed this, print this out, and then afterwards, everything went to crap. Everything. Don't know why, but afterwards, the printer then refused to have anything stick to its plate. This is not the actual plate I use. I'm just visually pointing to it. In fact, after maybe 4 failed attempts of barely getting off the table, I got this far in the print. 3 hours in, it got to this point, which is the mirror version of this. It got 3 hours in, and I was like, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night. I'll go to bed. It'll be ready by 7 in the morning. I wake up 7 in the morning, and it was just a big old curly afro of black PLA that literally stopped as soon as I stopped looking at it. Like, it got this far, I went to bed, woke up, this is what I got. But I kept it because this and this are actually pretty solid. So if I wanted to, I could, if I needed to do a mold that was this big but only this high, I could just print this same model and purposely interrupt it partway through to have the brother to this sister. However, I cannot get the final one. This, all day, I've been trying to recreate this. It's about a 10-hour print, and it will not work. And it has been nerve-wracking, and it's been driving me crazy. And I've been trying to do other stuff today as well, but I just keep returning to it. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. I unplugged the printer, turned it all off. I'm like, this project is gonna have to, I'm going to find another way to do it. Luckily, our good friend, Katorius Rex, suggested another thing other than using a 3D print. I won't go into the details of that, it's a bit much. And today, we are instead gonna try out this baby. This is a 3D pen. It is the same process as a 3D printer, except you move it around. I'm sure you've seen it online. A lot of people have bought versions of this. I bought this off of Amazon. I did some basic testing at my one day on this glass plate, and it works. It's just a matter of like getting used to using it by hand. I have bags upon bags of this filament, which is more meant to be for the pens than anything else. I bought bags and bags, or to spit it out. I bought bags and bags of this, thinking I could, kind of cheat and use it in the bigger 3D printer. Doesn't work. Heck, I have it. So we are gonna try to make a sculpture. You do flat pieces and you glue them together. We're gonna try and do a sculpture of my character, the one-armed bandit, who some of you have seen in the last few streams I've done. And yeah, we're just gonna try out this pen. I'm gonna redeem the 3D process, but using this instead. So, essentially, you set the pen to a certain temperature. It's right now climbing to the temperature. And then you press forward to go forward, back to feed it out. If you release the forward button, it actually does recoil the plastic anyway to prevent it from leaking. It has a speed right here. So we're gonna try some yellow. This is the cheap filament yellow I have. I also have 3D printer filament of yellow as well. So we're gonna just, yeah, we're gonna try it out, guys, and that's it. Oh, I gotta hold that in place. So we're gonna do some test passes so you can see what it does. It's right now set to 210 temperature. And yes, it does make the annoying little buzzing noise. It's slowly melting and feeding it out. In fact, you got some black filament coming out. And what happens if I do that? Okay, is that faster? Okay, that's the faster. Okay, we're gonna go slow. Despite my steady hand at drawing. My bad habit is that you're supposed to drag it and I'm not dragging it. I'm like lifting it off the table. Put the speed at medium, see how that works. So right now just doing a frame based on a drawing, a little template drawing you just saw me do on the grid paper that's beneath this. And I might not just trying to give it a bit more strength by doing a kind of spider web pattern. So this is the exact same kind of plastic, PLA, thermoplastic you see in large scale 3D printers. Exact same idea, except that it's feeding from a pen. So like I said, at the moment I release the button, it recoils slightly, which is a good thing, but it's also a little annoying because I have to go, because I have to like reset it to get it to go. It's because you know if you're dragging it, you go this way, but if you go this way, it kind of causes like it cuts into itself, if that makes sense. Okay. Let me go get something real quick. Stand by. I'm gonna get a spatula. Yeah, my regular 3D printer, I was spiraling closely to insanity. And what I mean by that is the expression insanity. What is it? Insanity is defined by doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I was teetering just on that. I There's only so many ways you could rotate the plate. There's only so many ways you could clean the plate. There's only so many ways you could add adhesion to the plate. I even went ahead and bought freaking hairspray and tried hairspray on the plate. I tried different filaments. I tried different speeds. Nothing was sticking to the plate anymore. So yeah, like I was teetering really close to the insanity point because I was just going around and around and around. Okay. Here we go. All right. So that's one. Can I flip this and still see it well? Yeah, there we go. I want it as smooth as possible on each side. So I've seen people, what they do, they'll do a frame like this. They'll glue the frame together. Then they'll freehand spiderweb it. And then they'll either sand it or heat it using like a heated kind of spatula tool to flatten it all out. So we're right now trying to make the chest of the one-armed bandit, which is pretty much a box with a curve in the front, which is where he, where the slot machine part like exists. Let's do a spiral. And the plastic's getting a little tangled. Stand by. What is going on here? Hello, come on, let go. It's like when a slinky bends just the wrong way. And you're asking yourself, well, why would it do that? Why would it bend in such a way? There we go. did we get it? Just about. The end of it's still kind of overlapping itself in a weird way. Right there. Right there's the weirdness. Okay. Oh, don't you get tangled around yourself again. Are those fireworks? Dude, we're not there yet. America's going through some weird stuff right now, people. I'm not gonna get political on the chat and on the stream. We all know what's happening. I mean, there's a lot of weird things in the world happening, but America is definitely going through some weird stuff. I was just watching an episode of, I said I'm not going to get political, and I mean it. What I mean is I'm not going to like start arguing over what needs to be done. We all know what needs to be done, or what needs to we feel we know. But I just saw an episode of Some More News. It's a really good YouTube channel. Check it out when you can. It's a very informative YouTube channel. And they were talking about the current runner for the British, I forgot the title. It's not president, but you know, the guy in charge. And it's funny because I just saw their video on him like a week after I saw a video on the history of how he got so rich and how he made his money. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, it's a typical story. People who made a lot of money doing weird, questionable things are now the ones trying to be in charge. And it's like, come on, we could do better. So I'm right now working on the back plate. It's actually very fun, and it does force you to think in 3 dimensions, but rather in template form. Okay. Now we're gonna try and do his belly, which is just a smaller, thin rectangle. Sorry. Oh no, switch it. There we go. So what's... I'm trying to figure out like the dimensions now as they stand will probably be here. I believe so. Yeah, almost a perfect square. This is for the top of his body and the bottom of his body. Not sure if we're really angled off well on the camera. This is, I don't know, man. After the day I had, this is immensely relaxing. Because I just had so many ideas I wanted to get finished via the 3D printer, and they all fell through. Come on. No! No! Stand by. Get back here. As per usual, I am surrounded by tons of wires just to get all my stuff hooked up. And yes, I am wearing shorts, so you can see my hairy legs and my toes. Ugh. Hydrate. Especially right now, this time of year. Okay, so we're gonna repeat this exact pattern again. That's right about there. Okay. Oh, we're running low on filament already. Yeah, you definitely use more filament when you're doing this as opposed to just using a regular 3D printer, because it just kind of, this kind of pulls outward. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this big old spool I got on discount because it was broken. Ugh. I've been dying to break it open for a project. But first, let's see if we can use the last of this. Let's go with this one. Well, let's get some of this out the way. Let's clear the way a little bit. Oh, that cracked a little bit. That's okay. This is just a simple understructure that could be fixed. Oh, I'm doing the wrong way. I was going in reverse. Flat part there, flat part sticking out here. So kind of like welding. Okay. Gonna record the last of this out. And you know what? Screw it. No, we're gonna keep going. Let's see how we're gonna do this. It's on the inside. Gotta get that angle just right. Just gonna put a big old blob and stick it in while it's still a little hot. Right about there. Oh, that's that. Time for the new batch. Okay, let's see. Oh, no. Got stuck to the table. Got stuck to the table. Oh, shoot. Okay. Try again. Let's work on this side. I don't know how well the angle looks for you guys. Let's see how this looks. So I don't know if you can see it, but I basically went back and forth and overlapped it like stitches because this isn't going to be smooth right now. The whole thing eventually has to be kind of sanded down. There we go. Let's see. Feed a bit more to myself. Hold it as box-like as possible. It's a leaning tower. What's that? Anyone have ever watched the Goofy movie? It's a leaning tower of cheeser. Ah, that's a classic. You kids don't know. That's a classic. Trying to get his belly plate in place. That should do it. About. There's a video that my friend just sent me of someone doing an entire like Pokemon, what's his name, Coffin or Weezing, I forget which one it is, out of this material, and then turning it into like a freaking incense burner, which is weird because this is thermoplastic, so you have to be very careful not to melt it. Oop, I just yanked some of this, and some of it came off. I'm also trying to be very careful not to burn myself. I'm not too. I mean, to be honest, this plastic dries super quick, but you still gotta be careful with the tip of the actual pen. A little chunk of this I'm not happy with. I'm trying to find the best way to... What's going on here? There we go. Right there. Come on, feed, feed, feed. Hope my big old head isn't like in every single shot. And here's like the general shape, right? That's like what we're aiming for. And ideally, you would like fill in all the gaps, sand it down, and like really get the shape just the way you want it. Now one side does stick out more than the other. Let's do a line. Let's just do a little solid line real quick. So I'm kind of doing what the 3D printer itself does, by you do a wall and then you do back and forth for the infill. And it goes flying again. To disappear beneath the sofa like everything does in this freaking house. So this side is a bit further out. And I actually do want this side to be further out too. So why don't we add a bit more to that? Let that cool for a second as I go hunting. Nah, you know what? We'll find it later. I'll just draw a new one. I don't know how accurate this little knob in the corner here is meant for speed. I don't really feel the difference. You know we could use. I have an idea. Stand by. I gotta move the entire sofa just to get out of here. Oi. We got little snips. We got snips, people. Now, to be honest, there's supposed to be white pieces here, but I still want to make a resemblance of like the body frame. Like I'm gonna have to do the whole thing in yellow and then cut a piece of it out anyway. Let's see how to get this in here without fudging myself over. That seems about right. Right about there. Okay. Now let's see if we can get this last guy out without it going flying off into the distance. There we go. The whole thing's slanted. It's slanting because it has a lot of material on the backside here. You know what? No, we're not going to cut it off. The whole idea is that you could sand it off later. So leave it on and then shape it later. Now, to be honest, I could have probably done this entire character using cardboard. You know, cut the pieces out of cardboard. Cut the pieces out of foam board, which I have a lot of. But, you know, I want to, like I said, I want to redeem myself. I got tons of this plastic I could burn through. It's not a big financial loss because of where I've been buying it. It has been pretty cheap. Plus, when it's all done, to have a hard plastic version, it'd be really nice. A hard plastic figurine of this guy, you know. I realized I put this on the flat side, this on the flat side, not this one. I'm going to have to sand that down a lot. Okay, let's see. Yeah, a little weak. Needs a lot of layers to get it all right, but I guess ideally this crisscrossing I'm doing should have been done when it was flat, as opposed to me trying to like reach across, like scaffolding from one side to the other. Hey, live and learn. big old blob. Had to take my hands off it to like my plastic cord got tangled. Yeah, I think for the rest of the body, I'll do a lot of this crisscrossing when it's flat on the glass. So I have to fit that way I don't do as much filling as you see me doing now. Let's take a look. All right. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Is it perfect? No. But I'm enjoying it. Okay. Now, his head is pretty much a perfect circle. Like Bender's head from Futurama. So let's see if we could do... It's not a circle, sorry. It's a tube, like Bender's head. And I think around this diameter should do it. Yeah, so online, they use like maybe it's a type of burning tool for like wood. And it has a little flat, almost like a spatula at the end. They use that to like melt smooth some parts, and then they sand down other parts. That's real hot. Let it sit there for a second. Holding it up and down. So sorry if the angle's weird. This way it doesn't like... I'm holding it vertically as opposed to flat and horizontal. That way the lines I'm doing don't actually drape as opposed to leaking through the body frame, if that makes sense. See, I do it this way, while that way it hangs up and down like that. And then I change direction as well. So yeah, I think I do have it set at the fastest speed, but even then it only goes so fast because it has to melt the plastic. So I'm going at the fast speed right now when I'm doing these passes because I'm able to move my arm quickly up and down. Yeah, okay, we got the shape coming around. Look at that. We got nice netting. I like that. Let's repeat it on the other side. Okay, we're getting a rhythm here. We're getting a rhythm, right? So as I mentioned earlier, I got bags and bags of this stuff, which each one's like a 20-foot long spool. Oh, gonna lean away from you for a minute, because I don't want to stop. I have to lean away because the cord's getting short. Oh no, I'm off camera. Can you still hear it going? But yeah, as I said, I got bags and bags of this particular, you know, PLA, because I think the pen PLA is probably a little cheaper in terms of quality. Because I bought it thinking I was going to be smart and I could use these smaller ones to do like small 3D prints as opposed to buying a big spool, and like, you know, they just weren't working. I mean, it could have just been the printer itself, because like I said, my printer is finicky. It'll work for a few weeks, it'll work for a few days, and then all of a sudden, you don't change anything, you don't do anything different, and it decides it doesn't want to work anymore. I say not working, meaning that like the printer itself works, it's just the biggest issue is that it's not adhering to the plate. So I did a really good prototype of my Nintendo remote concept. By the way, check out on Instagram and on Twitter if you want to see exactly what that's about. My Instagram is usually my works in progress. Like, I'll take photographs of like ideas I have and sketches I have and so on and so forth. But the prototype came out perfect in one print. And I used it, and then when I went to do the next print, which required different colors and different patterns, nothing was changed, and even the colors were the same product of 3D filament. But it's decided, nope, not gonna happen. I'm debating how we're gonna do this circle. I'll probably do 2 circles and then maybe drape up and down, or do what we did for the arch here and do individual. Oh, you know what we could do? I will do a strip, right? A wall, a long rectangle, and certain parts will have extra layers, and certain parts will be thin. And if we do it just right, we could kind of wrap it around. The thin parts will act as perforations, if that's the right word. We'll try that. Yeah, we'll try that. See what happens. So this is technically my second time using this pen. Can you tell? So yes, I am, once again, I'm not even too sure if I'm using up too much material, if this is kind of like how it's done. I really have no idea. I just want to do another pass in the opposite direction as I did last time for the chest. And as I mentioned, the chest is supposed to have those white rotating, I don't know what you call them, but the cylinders that are in slot machines. Hello, Zero Jacks. Thank you for joining. Yeah, basic boxes are good. And then, giving myself the curved chest here and a few other circular points, it makes me think of how, problem solving. How do you approach it? And it's, okay, I can feel it now. Now it's getting sturdy with these cross hatching. Yeah, regretfully, the side I'm doing right now has lots of open gaps. I should have really done more, I don't know what you call it, spider webbing when it was still flat on the plate. God, now I'm in the mood for Ritz crackers and not string cheese. What's it called? Is it the actual like spray? Is it spray cheese? Yeah, I made the joke about the guy from. I made the joke about Pauly Shore's character from a Goofy movie, but I actually can't remember what it's called. The actual product that he just freaking stuffs into his face. Well, so I bought the pen for that reason. If I'm doing a 3D model on my 3D printer, I have the original like Ender 3 pretty much. If I'm doing a 3D model, and I don't really care too much about like cleanness, but rather the structure, I bought the pen for that, and I used it on one or two little areas, and then I just sanded it down. And sanding isn't going to always look as good. Well, not as good. The sanding won't always match the regular 3D printing unless you sand all of it. But that wasn't my issue. I just needed something to be a little bit stronger, and the pen was perfect for that. The pen, it fits that function as well. Yeah, cause I set my prints for my Ender 3 at standard. I don't do like high quality because then it takes forever and a day. And I also don't sand them because the products I'm making aren't meant to be. I'm not like making stormtrooper helmets or like plastic swords that are meant to be used for LARPing. I don't need them to be super smooth. I'm okay with the fact that you can tell it's 3D printed. It's more about the product I'm producing as opposed to just how the product looks. It's about the function of the product. But as I lamented earlier in the video, my 3D printer and I are not talking right now. Oh, this kind of like got a little bit of a bump here. Let me fill in the inside, and then we can sand it down later. when I bought the pen, it came with a little tiny booklet of like templates. You know, make a car, make a butterfly, really simple stuff. Yeah, exactly. Function over form. I was super psyched about my recent 3D project, but like I said, I have to walk away from the 3D printer. It consumes my time. It just because you know, I set it, I correct it, I print, wait like 10 minutes for it to heat up, watch it for the first 10 to 15 minutes, wait and see if it fails, rinse and repeat that over and over again. Like it was just consuming it consumed my whole day. All right. So we're gonna do the same thing to the top. All the sides. Let that cool a little bit. All the sides are actually pretty solid right now. We're gonna do the top, and then we're gonna try the idea I had for the soda can that is his head. Using the glass ender sheet I have beneath me is a good idea because as you could see, you know, you could draw the templates on a grid paper like I did here, and you can still see it through it. So I would suggest probably using glass if you're going to be doing this project. Someone told me that they told me someone online said that they took stencils and they laminated them, but I'm not too sure. I don't know. I'm not too sure how the heat of the thermoplastic against laminated plastic would actually kind of work. I was thinking of using. I was thinking of also using wax paper. I guess just for straight freeform stuff. But I think this approach of glass, glass specifically that's heat treated like this is, for this kind of material, works best. Okay, we have a bit of a slightly going this way on top, but once again, sanding, flexing. This just has to be sanded down. Yeah, we go. Oh my god, yeah, sand it all down flat. Add a bit more. Add a bit more. Oh, that's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, people. Okay, come on, come on. Yeah, the only issue is you can't flex it like you would the metal plate. There we go. Where's my pen? Okay, we'll draw within that circle. So, my last few streams, I've been working on sprites for a video game concept. Long story short, I have a dream concept for a video game that I've been working on, technically since high school. When I say working on, I mean every so often I'll draw a picture and I'll add it to the file, And so eventually I had all the characters, all the weapons, all the background characters. I had like everything needed for this pixel game I had an idea for. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go forward with it. But I took the advice of a friend and decided not to work on my dream project. So I'm working on a smaller scale project called the One-Armed Bandit, which is essentially a slot machine, a like old-timey slot machine that comes to life, like it's like a robot. And he has a cowboy hat on, he has a mask on, he has like a bandana around his face, and he is essentially this robot in the Wild West that's going to be hopping around trying to beat bad guys, save the love of his life. But it's kind of the old, what I call the Chicken Boo effect, if you ever watch Animaniacs, where he's obviously a giant robot slot machine. Like his chest has the things that rotate to tell you what you win. He has one arm that's just a giant mechanical arm. He's obviously a giant freaking slot machine, but because he has a bandana and a cowboy hat on, no one knows who he is. They just think he's some kind of bandit that's running around, and that is the One-Armed Bandit. So I decided to go ahead and make a little like statue of the One-Armed Bandit to kind of self-promote it. So it sounds really silly, but yeah, I'm basically making a robot that is a living slot machine in order to kind of self-promote a video game concept. And I've just been slowly doing the sprites myself. I've been really slowly learning programming through GDevelop. Check it out. I know there's a lot. I just burped. Sorry about that. I know there's other programs out there that are probably much more professional, such as Unity. Unity is used a lot for independent games, but GDevelop, for someone like me with absolutely no knowledge of programming, I think it's the best way to get into like making basic games like Flappy Bird or like simple side scrollers, like little run and gun side scrollers. GDevelop, I'm gonna say, in the short time I've taken to slowly learn the game and slowly learn the programming without having to actually know coding. Great tool, amazing tool. Exactly. Like the idea I have is that every time you beat a boss, there's a little like text scroll between you and the boss, like on every stage, and the boss is like, "Who are you, stranger?" And he just answers, the One-Armed Bandit just answers, "That's not important. Just call me the One-Armed Bandit," and he runs off, and like no one ever knows. Yeah, the sprites I've done so far, I haven't done too many, how I put it. I've been designing the character sprites. I haven't done too much in terms of sprite animation, except for like one or two of them. So the one sprite animation I finished that I'm really happy with is a rotating silver coin, and the coin has a number 7 on it. Your standard like jackpot number 7. And those are the health points. Like you collect coins as health points in the game. So I've done like, it was like a little, it's only like 4 or 5 frames of sprite animation. I'm keeping all the sprite animation really simple, like just basic, like 1 or 2 frames for like if a character tries to stab you, like really kind of old school. I'm keeping it simple because I'm doing almost all of it myself, so I don't want to bog myself down with too much work. And the last one I just did on the last stream is just a quick shooter guy. It's a guy, he's hunched over, and then ideally when your character is in line of sight with him, he quickly like goes from hunched over to straight up leaning all the way backwards, like a Michael Jackson tilt, shooting from his hip. Just shooting from his hip, and that's essentially like that's the animation for him. Okay, now here, so we gotta figure out some semi-math. Oof, this freaking spool is spinning around everywhere. That's what it is. Like, so my friend was asking about 3D printing, and I said to him, 3D printing, it has taught me patience, and it has taught me to sometimes you just gotta walk away from a project. You gotta walk away. 3D printing, in my opinion, is like watching water boil with high stakes. Because the longer you watch water boil, the longer it feels. Sometimes you have to walk away from it and let it do its job. But it could boil for 20 minutes, and the moment it boils too much and overflows, the whole project's destroyed. It's like the moment the water boils too much, the fire goes out. And that's 3D printing. You can watch it all you want. But sometimes you just have to let the machine do its thing. But sometimes you have to remember that at any moment a thing could go wrong, and a 4-hour print can just go to crap, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it teaches you like humility, if that makes sense. So it definitely has taught me a lot to like chill out. Okay. Let me clean my table. My issue is that since this is feeding off of a large spool that I'm turning on the side here, this doesn't have enough strength to really pull the spool properly. The cord keeps twisting. Okay, let's see. Let's arbitrarily figure out how much right about there. That's pretty much. Can you even see that on camera? I'm pointing. Yeah, that's pretty much the length we gotta do. Now the question is, what's the height? Definitely more than one head, more than one circle. Maybe too high? Maybe too high. Yeah. 1.5. Yeah, let's go 1.5. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a big square. A big rectangle. Yeah, I have many projects that go through my head. But I have to sit down and constantly remind myself, okay, this is the project that's important right now, and why is it important, right? So this isn't really maximum importance, but for my own sake of mind, you sometimes just have to say stop, drop, and roll, and just, take it easy. There we go. You know what? I'm gonna kind of estimate how many strong walls we're gonna do in this rectangle, how many weak walls, and then we bend at the weak wall in order to roll it into a tube. I hope that makes sense. Exactly. It's like imagine you take how to describe it? Oh, foam board. Have you ever used foam board? So you take a foam board and you slice it all the way down, but not all the way through, because foam board is paper on either side with foam on the inside. But if you slice the paper all on one side but not the other, you can then wrap it around, kind of like corrugated cardboard. How it has gaps in it, so you can kind of roll corrugated cardboard. That's kind of the idea I'm aiming for. Mentioning Chicken Boo earlier, you know, the running gag that no one ever knows he's a chicken, and now I got that. Now I got his little theme song from Animaniacs stuck in my head, because every episode it's really simple. Every episode is really simple. It's Chicken Boo, this giant human-sized chicken, and he has something on him, a pair of glasses, a scarf, whatever, and everyone thinks he's someone else. Everyone's like, oh, it's so and so, the great American actor or whatever. And in every episode, there'll be this one guy who everyone thinks is crazy, screaming, "He's a giant chicken! Can't you guys tell he's a giant chicken?" And that's just like the gag. Just everyone thinks this one guy is crazy in every episode. It's always a different guy. Sometimes Chicken Boo's an actor, a director, a chef. And then eventually, something happens with like Chicken Boo loses his disguise. And then everyone's like, he is a chicken, get him! And everyone just like attacks him for no reason. And then he just walks into the sunset, and that's it. Like, he doesn't talk. You don't know if you never know if he's even aware of what's happening around him. Cause he's just a giant chicken in a costume. You don't like he's not even like a character. And every episode ends with just a little theme song. You wear a disguise to look like human guys, but you're not a man, you're a chicken, boo. And that's it. That's like the entire gag. It's like someone sat down in a room, pitched an idea, and they were like, yeah, we could do that. Right? I wasn't like a huge hardcore fan of the original Animaniacs show. But I remember it because it was essentially a sitcom. It was not a sitcom. Sorry, it was like Mad TV or SNL. It was like this made of all these random skits with certain reoccurring characters. Lots of referential stuff of the time. You know, Madonna, Prince. You know, just characters from like 90s into the early 2000s, I believe it was. And it's like it wasn't just a product of his time. It was also like it would never be done again. Like Steven Spielberg was a producer on this freaking kids cartoon, and like the actors and the writers and the voice actors behind it, like it's like you would never get 100% that exact show, even though they have remade it since. Like you don't have like Chicken Boo doesn't show up in the remake, from what I understand. Like a lot of the early gags from the old show are just not in the new show. That's not a comment on whether or not it's good or bad. It's just things I've noticed, and I've heard through the art community about, you know, when you remake something, can you capture the love of the original? You know. Yeah, the original show was like super zany. I can't remember if the original series ended with the movie Wacko's Wish. I just saw a video about someone. It might have been Nostalgia Critic or someone else online talking about the movie Wacko's Wish, the animated movie, and how like it, even though it doesn't take place, even though it completely takes place in its own like little universe where they live in a village and it's like medieval times or whatever. Continuity isn't really a thing in that show. But it was one of the main things about the movie was that everyone finally got like what they properly deserved. I think Chicken Boo's in it, but I don't think he actually like gets anything in the end because once again he's just a freaking chicken. He doesn't want anything really. But characters like what's it called? Mindy and Buttons. Buttons, the dog who's super loyal but like always gets the short end of the stick. He finally gets rewarded for like protecting the little girl named Mindy. It was cute. And it's only fresh in my mind because I like saw I saw someone once again doing like a review on. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this movie. This made for TV. I think it was made for TV movie. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was ever released like in theaters. Part of me is a little worried that this won't be long enough to wrap around the little circles we've done. So I might add one more extension to it. Better to have more than we need than not enough. I really like they've updated the selection of music on in Streamlabs, which is what you're hearing right now in the background. And I really like this because last time I think when I tried to find one that was like chilled music, it was not this. Oh, freaking. Oop. Sorry, just give me a second. Looking at the chat right now. I agree with that. I remember someone. I can't remember where the quote came from, or rather, who said it. I don't know if it was a producer or a writer, but I remember when they did like so a while back they did a Voltron remake, and I'm not talking about the one that was it Netflix? This was like Voltron in the third dimension. It was like a 3D animated Voltron, and the expression was, we did not try to create the show that existed, but rather the show we remember. Because, look at He-Man. He-Man was kind of goofy. He-Man was goofy. She-Ra was a little goofy. It's meant to sell toys. Ninja Turtles was meant to sell toys. But the way it made you feel as a kid, that's what you want in the remake. If you're even interested in watching a remake like that, I think the best example of a remake in like recent years, like a complete like reimagining that wasn't cynical to the original, which is a big issue when they do remakes. Like, oh, we have to make it a little cynical, we're gonna point out this and that. It's like, no, you have to be sincere to the fact that you enjoy the show. The best remake that was not cynical, that did beautiful lips. What's it called? Lip service to other shows at its time. That reimagined the characters, and as you said as you just said, moved them forward. Like they just basically clicked. I'm sorry, not clicked. Checked every single box. Was that freaking Ducktales series? And I wasn't even a fan, like a big fan of DuckTales. I was a fan of the other shows at the same time. You know, I liked Darkwing Duck. Tailspin had a sweet spot in my heart for being like a perfect example of like how do you do an adventure show for children of a certain age group? Like how do children view adventure shows? Tailspin was that. And they even made a reference to freaking gargoyles by the end of the series, by the end of the DuckTales series. That was a perfect example of like, okay, how do we do a show? How do we do justice to this concept? I think that was like the best one. Let me strengthen this wall right here. Okay, so we've done crisscrossing on the thicker walls here. Just one little line in the middle between those. And a quick double pass on the outside. Let's see if all this work was worth it. Just gonna gently do each one. A little breaking here and there, but, how many butts can we fit? Do you like big butts? Do they lie to you? Ooh, that just went flying. I'm gonna step on that later. I think I made the head a bit tall. That is a very tall head. That is a very tall... It's a giant tube. It's the size of his whole body. Oh, God. But the concept worked. We're good. We're good. In fact, I'm going to trim a bit off the bottom very carefully. In fact, you know what? Before I slice it... Let me see. That's better. Yeah. Before I slice it, I'm going to do another line and re-establish a wall. Okay, there we go. Come on, let go. Let go. Let go. You jerk. Like always, save all of this as filler pieces for other parts of the body. So we're not going to get rid of it. We're not going to throw it out. In fact, when I use my 3D printer, all the failed pieces, all of that I hold on to. Because, and this is before I even had the 3D pen. But I held on to all of it because I'm like, it's thermoplastic. Aside from a 3D printer, I've also kind of been eyeballing how to make your own injection mold. Because people buy those too. They're like tabletop injection molds. You get, they only make an object about yay big, but like you get a metal mold, and it's like a plunger that pushes plastic through a heated nozzle into it, and that's how a lot of toys are made, just injection molding. And I've been seeing some people online show how to make one at home for yourself, like out of like stuff you could buy on Amazon. I don't have the room for it at the moment, But keeping all of these pieces, keeping all these spare pieces, can now come in handy when I'm building like structures like this. There we go. Speaking of spare pieces, let me get a box to put this into. Now it's a bit of a tricky part. Let that cool for a minute. The more you use, of course, the longer it takes to cool. There we go. Right about there. Oh, nope. This part rolled out. I could cut it and just make it flat. There we go. Part of it was so stiff it didn't roll, so it kind of made it just jutted out for some reason. A little rough around the edges. Do I need this piece? Do I need this little extra piece I did? Probably not. Can't stick on the inside. Come on. No. Let's just cut it off. There we go. Just gonna stitch up the end points just bouncing back and forth from one side to the other like actual stitches. There you go. Not a perfect circle, but something we could work with, as opposed to doing a box. This is something we could work with. I mean, ideally, I could have tried and done this like a pentagon, and then attach pieces like this directly onto it. But either way works. Okay, I'm gonna try something a little silly. So this is going to end up falling through on the inside, so I'm going to try something a little silly. I'm basically going to, as I unwind my PLA again, need more. I'm going to do like a lip on the inside. Let's see if that lip is going to catch this. Yep, just about. Yep, have to make sure it's flat as possible though. Yeah, like that. Look at that. Yeah, now it's just a matter of filling in gaps. Cutting away, I didn't cut, removing pieces you don't need, filling in gaps. That's all it is now. Increase the speed, that way we could make, get some coverage down. Make sure I don't burn myself as I slowly rotate this cylinder. Yes, yes. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Part of me was at one point I was thinking, well, what if I, do all this frame in like cardboard or whatever, and then do some sculpting. My regular not water based. Yeah, it is water based. It's I use an epoxy sculpt for a lot of my projects. So I was thinking, what if I just sculpted the whole guy? But at the same time, I'm like, no, I want plastic. I want it to be just hard plastic. Because the plastic has a bit of a bounce to it if it falls. If the sculpture falls, it's gonna break. And sculpting comes with its own thing. You still gotta sand it. You still gotta get all the angles right. So this is just another medium in order to get a similar result. I want to say it's about right. It's a bit chunky, it's a bit wide, but I can always sand it down and like slightly thin it down because I'm still gonna have to bulk this up, and I can always sand this down a bit. But I think that's pretty good proportion. Yeah, the head's a little big, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Just doing a few more cross layers on the top and bottom. Because once again, that's how 3D printers do it. They'll do a wall that's like 3 passes or 4 passes wide. Then they'll do a layer. Then they'll do a cross layer. That's also 3 or 4 usually. And then they'll usually do a honeycomb on the inside. So as much material as I'm using, I'm not even doing a honeycomb on the inside. So it's still lightweight and still using less material. Okay, so next is his foot. He basically, it's the top of the slot machine and the bottom, where the coins come out. So the bottom hat, this freaking, the PLA is so coiled it keeps pulling back on the pen. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So what's left is the foot, which is pretty much just like not a pyramid, but like it is tapered. It's pretty much a rectangle that's tapered outward. So it's kind of like the extension of this. In fact, do I have a picture of it for reference? I know what to do. Stand by, stand by. There he is. That's him. That's him. I could probably stand to make his belly area longer. Like I said, I could probably sand down the head a bit. A portion of the head would be under the hat too, which is good. Is that showing on the? Is that showing? Yeah, it is showing in the video. So we can do adjustments as we go. You know what we could do also? Rather than do a whole nother freaking box, let's see if we can get his hand, or rather his arm. Once his bicep, his forearm is just a black pole, and his hand is meant to be like a big red ball. It's a big glove, but it's meant to look like a pole with a big red knob at the end of it. That's what his hand is meant to look like. And that's the one-arm bandit. This is the current sprite for him, but I am going to do some adjustments to it. He just kind of hops around wherever he goes. I'm going to do some adjustments. Yeah, I might not do an actual joint. I'll probably just make it one solid piece though. But, you know, we'll see. Let's see. Let's say something along this line for the for the arm. Maybe a little shorter than that, but yes. Yep. What? I'm dropping cheese. Get back over here. I can't move the table, so I gotta use my big old monkey feet to grab it. Come here, you. The good Lord gave men monkey feet. So when we take off our underwear and we leave it on the floor, we grab it with our toes, toss it in the air, and catch it in one grasp. And don't tell me you've never done that. The pen's making a bit of a weird squeak now. I did watch online some videos as to like what's the best 3D pen. This one woman basically went over like this and like several other pens and why she felt not what was the best, but rather like what were good qualities. And I liked this one the most, to be honest. There was a different pen that Adam Savage from Mythbusters, or rather, to be more precise, Adam Savage from his YouTube channel Tested, was using. The pen he was using looks more kid friendly. It's like an egg almost in terms of shape. But he was also using it just to like repair damage in like his 3D prints. I'm gonna try. Let's do the whole thing right here in one piece. And just like with the head, we'll just fold it over. Kind of like those, you probably seen them online. You might have bought one yourself, where it's like a pre-made like paper house, or like, you know, I seen one of like Howl's Moving Castle, like a paper craft, where you just have to cut it out and like fold all the pieces together. being a little messy, not being as precise as you should when you're trying to make like a paper craft thing like this, but hey, we're not perfect, are we? No one's perfect, and that's fine. Channeling my Bob Ross, you know? Be messy. Enjoy it. Sometimes you gotta just trust the process, and today's process is being chill. Ooh. Come on, stick with me. Oh yeah, just stick a little bit. I'm gonna bend you anyway, just stick a little bit. Huzzah! That's pretty good proportion too. A little big, but nothing horrible. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Let me just seal it all together. When I was so I drew the character of One Armed Bandit years ago. It was just like a random sketch. Like, wouldn't it be funny? Just like this living slot machine character. And then when I decided to like actually start making a game from it, just like 2 or 3 months ago, I was looking up actual reference for slot machines of the era of like the late 1800s, you know, and they're really freaking ornate. Like, there's like little metal detailing. They're really freaking ornate. They're not just like slick pieces of metal. So the sprite does not have the ornate detail, but maybe if I was to do like promotional artwork, I would do like little details on his body frame. Hey, remember these? Yeah. Just gotta make them a little longer. How many do I need? How much of this needs to be rotated around? Yeah, like right about there. Heh, made them too wide. Lost a piece there? That's fine. Every little piece can go somewhere. But this one can go to hell. Nah. That's what the weird piano music. It sounds more like horror background music than it does chilled music. Someone stuck it in the wrong category. gonna bend this piece. There we go. That's... yeah, it's better. Come on, feet out. That looks nice. Not a perfect circle. We'll sand it out, round it out, etc. Just right now adding lots of extra material since I feel this part will be sanded heavily. You probably saw I also stuck one of the miscellaneous pieces that fell off, like I just kind of stuck it in there as like foundation. Put a little bit of melted plastic first, stuck the extra little square piece we had, and then put more melted plastic on top of it. It's like when you do sculpting with clay, you don't always just do a giant clay head. You often make an armature, like a stick with a ball of aluminum around it, and then you put clay on top. Thanks, man. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, rest up. Hope to see you again later. Yeah, it does look pretty good in proportion. He says I might extend the body a little bit. I think this arm looks good in proportion to the body. The head is a bit wide. The diameter is a bit large on the head. But we'll figure that out. Oop, cut right through that. Didn't mean to cut right through it. Oh, but that should actually work pretty well. Let me slam this in here. Come on. Just wedge it right about there. Come on. Wedge nicely. Wedge nicely, I say. Bingo, look at that. Look at that. That's almost perfect, so we're gonna go with what I just put in here. And then we can always, once again, sand it down, reduce material. Filling up some random gaps I have. Oop, that was a bit warm. Ouch. Luckily, this isn't like heated glue gun. Like the plastic, this plastic actually cools very quickly. It's the nozzle you gotta be careful, you know, touching. But the plastic itself actually cools very, very quickly. It's warm, but it doesn't burn me. Do 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 do. Yeah, this is the only part that's making me a little iffy. A bit too wide for my liking. But it is good so far. So why don't we draw the leg? We'll just use this as like a size reference. That's about right, I would say. In fact, let me get my phone and we'll take a look at it. Yeah. If anything, once again, it's the length here. I'm going to have to add a little bit more here on the bottom. But that does seem good. I could probably make this a little steeper if I wanted to. So more or less the same place I've gotten like a majority of my 3D filament, which is those Amazon slash eBay slash whatever return stores I'm always talking about. For those of you once again who do not know, essentially someone, some group, some company got hip to the fact that when you return stuff to Amazon, especially if it's not opened, or if it gets bounced back to these kind of websites, they don't actually go back to the companies. They end up in these pretty much these giant crates, these kind of like waste crates. So someone got hip to that. They buy. Ooh, hold on, the filament's stuck. It's like Oh, give me a second, guys. The filament's stuck on the spool, like it's overlapping itself. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Whoop. Heh. Freaking snapped. Well, we'll use up this filament, then we'll use up this, and then I'll find the end of it on the spool. As I was saying, so someone got hip to that, right? They were like, well, you know, we could just buy these return crates for whatever amount of money. We'll just dump everything that's in them in a store on a bunch of tables. We'll tell everyone, listen, just use the Amazon app. You could just scan the box without opening it. And on a Monday, everything's $10. On a Tuesday, everything's $7. On a Wednesday, everything is $5. And people just go, and it's a free-for-all. People are just ripping boxes open when they shouldn't, etc., etc. So I found a lot of this PLA filament on like a $2 day, because not many people knew what it was. They thought it was like wires or something, so that no one buys them. And by the end of the week, I would find like maybe a half-used returned filament or whatever for like $5, $10. The most I've ever spent on these filaments are like $10 in these stores. Granted, sometimes the filaments are like they have been opened only, and they're like, maybe, you know, sometimes it'll be half a roll or whatever, but still. And today I took a little walk into one of the stores just you know, I go there like maybe every other week to see what's on the racks. And I found it was out of box, and when I got home I found that it wasn't complete. But luckily I'm an artist, and I was able to make Jimmy Rig, or Jimmy, whatever it's called. I was able to MacGyver the part that was missing. Those like $35 like label printers, like little pocket label printers for like packages and stuff, which go for like $35. Got it for $7. So I just, like I said, I just MacGyvered a part that was missing. Went online, downloaded the app, and I can now print like labels on thermal paper, or just any kind of thermal paper, label or otherwise. And I got $7, so I could like use it to like do like stickers, like little black and white stickers, of course, you know. but it's also pretty good too because it's thermal paper, so there's no ink needed. So if I get colored thermal paper, which does exist, I could do some like pieces of artwork. I can make stickers, simple sticker artwork that's like basically two colors, black and whatever the background paper is. And maybe for this guy, I could make like black and brown like wanted posters of him, you know, as little stickers. Okay, so this got jammed because it looks like it got wrapped up and overlapped itself. So now I gotta find where the end of it is. There it is. So why did you get caught? Here we go. Ah, it's caught around my headphones. I know what I need to do. I know what needs to be done. Stand by, everyone. So what you don't see, you can hear me struggling with it though. I got the spool. And I'm trying to put it on top of something, that way it will continue, that way it will unravel but not freaking like roll off on me. Nah, close enough. That seems good. Once again, a little big. But we're going to extend the body here, so it still works. Now, template time. Where is my pen? Where is my marker? Did you roll beneath the sofa cushions like everything else does? Pen, 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 pen. Sharpie marker indeed. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Got a little bit of Wizard of Oz stuck in my head. There we go. It's really sad, dramatic music. Just about right. I really took my time on it and really made sure there was no gaps on this, when I take it off the glass, it'll be perfectly smooth. And I wouldn't have to sand it. But you're still gonna have to glue the pieces together, so you're still gonna end up with funny edges. There you go. A new line of plastic. No, don't fall out. Don't fall out now. Usually, to fill dead air, I'll be talking about, you know, recent cartoons and anime and whatnot, and just wondering, hey, what's going on in the world? I have not yet watched My Adventures with Superman. I do know. I've seen a lot of scenes from it. I do know a lot, like, you know, all the little key points that happen, because, you know, once they happen, people put it up online. I should take the time to watch it. I think I talked about it probably in my last. Did I talk about my last stream? I feel like I did. I feel like I did talk about it in my last stream. You know, it's a different. It's a different vibe of Superman, but it's still Superman, but it's a completely different vibe. Less action hero, more like slice of life, but he just so happens to be Superman kind of thing, like very lighthearted. I think the newest season is going or just ended. But basically, I'm aware of his cousin showing up, and kind of I gotta take time to watch it. There's a lot of shows that, you know, I kind of burnt out emotionally after several shows freaking ended, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get back into another cartoon. Hey. Woo. I keep talking about that nub. Keep talking about the end of it. Look what happened, people. Am I at full speed? I'm not. Let me go to full speed for this. Oh yes, as I was saying. Let me backtrack. So I got a nice label printer, little Bluetooth pocket-sized label printer, which works great with my PC, but for some reason on my phone, when I set the measurements, it comes out weird on the phone. But it works great for the PC, so I can just print out as many labels as I want from there. $7 for that. I bought a really cheap, it's like a plastic arrow, about the length of this this glass plate, and it has like little LED lights in it, so it's you know, it's like a neon sign. So I bought that for when I do conventions. And if you haven't noticed, rolling in the chat area should be a little slideshow. The next convention is next month. Retro Gaming, Long Island Retro Gaming. Check us out there, man. Check me out there. And I also bought like a mouse where it has a roller ball at the thumb, so you don't move the mouse, you just move the roll ball with your thumb, and it had like 4 or 5 buttons on it, and I was like, cool, let me buy this. It was out of box though, and if I had the box, it probably would have said it otherwise. The buttons cannot be programmed. It's a left button, it's a right click, a left click, and the 4 other buttons sorry, the two other buttons are just the front, are just for you to scroll back and forth when on the internet, like scrolling, like just like scrolling back to the page you came from. And I'm like, ah, damn it. I bought it hoping I could like just pre-program the buttons and like use it for my 3D rendering. So rather than move around, I just kind of move my thumb around and let the model rotate for me. But no. But alas, no. Could probably fudge this just a pinch. Yeah, let's do that. I have a fan on me right now. Here in New York, here in the Boogie Down Bronx, temperature was actually really beautiful today. Because we were, I guess it was like, I guess the world was expecting rain. So we had nice breeze, temperature finally broke. So luckily I could sit here with just a fan on me. But the moment the fan is off, like I feel the humidity again and I start sweating bullets. There we go. I reiterate, this chill music sounds freaking depressing. Okay. Now I could, while it's here, try to repeat the process in the bottom half too. Because that's just about like that. So it needs to be just about the same. So let's do that. That about. Now this actual bottom half is going to be a different color in the long run. But I think I'll layer the color on top of it. So, One Armed Bandit, the character we are currently working on, right? What is the deal with the story? What's the deal with that? It's a bit of a silly fictional story. There's not much really to the. I mean, there's not much to the story. The game is meant to be a side scroller, not so much a run and gun, because there's no gun. It's a run and stab. More, I guess you would say more like Shovel Knight, where it's a side scroller with like close up combat. And it's basically about this woman who, as of right now, we call her Miss Daisy. There's gonna be a better name for her, but for the working title is Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy found an old shack in the middle of the West, and she fixed it up, turned it into a saloon with watered down drinks, with a single slot machine. But then, around the shack, a town began to be built. And it's a poor town. It's a one-horse town. The mayor doesn't do a dang thing for the town. He's just became the mayor through like, it was like what's it called, snake oil salesman and stuff. So like, it's a town only in that there are buildings. And Miss Daisy one day hopes to one day make it rich, and every day she goes downstairs, and she kisses that one old rusted slot machine, and she says, "Is today the day? Is today the day we make it rich, my friend?" And then she goes and just runs the saloon, and everyone in the town loves Miss Daisy. Everyone knows that she's the real heart of the town, even though she's not the mayor, even though she's not the sheriff. She's the real heart of the town. But then one day, she gets kidnapped. And everyone's like, who will save Miss Daisy? And that's when the one-armed bandit appears from nowhere. And he runs off into the town, and he runs off into the sunset to go find her. And there is a word in Japanese folklore. When an object is truly loved for like, I think 100 years, it will one day become alive. That's why you have people who like pass down tea sets or dresses or like a piece of furniture, or bonsai plants. There's a word for it. It's like a Pinocchio story. If it's truly loved for 100 years, it will become alive. And it's kind of like the inspiration for this. And it's a slot machine, and he secretly loves her, but he can never tell her. And in the game, as of right now, I'm kind of like making I have the general idea, but I'm making the game on the fly. So I'm like, okay, given that basic backstory, given that concept, how do I make the game from that concept? So I'm guessing he'll have to confront the mayor, who'll have to confront the deputy or the sheriff and ask, and see, why aren't you looking for Miss Daisy? He'll have to, I'm thinking maybe he'll confront like an old prospector as he travels into the desert to go find her. And then eventually he'll have to confront the bandits who kidnapped her. So it's not a perfect square. It is a bit of a rectangle, and I'm happy with the slimness this way, and I'm happy with the width this way. I actually really do like the way that looks. It is a good thing I had this big spool of yellow filament, because I don't think all the yellow filament pen filaments I had would have been enough for this. Not at all. I'm not gonna do the front on this. Like, I'm not gonna do like a thin front one. Not yet. Not yet anyway. And the slant have to be measured after the fact. This like slanted piece has to be done after the fact. Okay. Let me look at my reference again, because I want to check something. Get a bit more spool. There we go. So I did a drop off here, but that's because I'm gonna put something there. But I actually might cut this a little short, because it is a solid slant. It's not meant to really have a wall here. This wall was here more for the extra color I add. So maybe I'll cut that when I glue it all together in its folded shape. Come on, come on. There we go. Oh, that snapped off. Oh, this is stuck on here for sure. And this is tapered really sharp too. That's good. Okay, let me first connect this a bit better. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. It's going backwards. There we go. Okay, do I have a long piece? Yes, I do. Because this stuck out way too much. Right? Look at that. It's a little slanted, a pinch. That's because I haven't added the bottom piece yet. Now, can we fudge it? Oh yeah, what we're gonna do a rim on the inside. So we're gonna do like a lip, and then we can attach. We can just drop that last piece inside. Kind of like this. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It slots right in there perfectly. How even is that? How does it stand? It stands pretty even. Do I have another thin piece I can use? No? Has a slight tilt to it because this side is a bit longer. but we're gonna add a whole new base to it. So that is essentially how our guy looks like. Or actually, he looks more like that because he has a waistline. That looks pretty good, I think. It's, yeah, once you do like enough cross hatching, yeah, sand it, add a bit more, sand it, add a bit more. I do want to make the belly a little bit longer. Do I have it in me to do yet another freaking box? It doesn't even need much, but it does need it though. Just needs a little bit. That seems about right. Knocked the camera. Sorry about that. My hand keeps sticking to the freaking table, so I'm trying to drag, because you have to drag the pen, but I don't want. But it's a heavy pen, so my hand keeps my forearm keeps sticking to the freaking table. Every time I need to move, I get stuck. I'm only doing the 3 walls right now. I want to see how well it matches this shape. Or this size, actually. Then I can always do the 4th wall and drop it in there. Alright. In fact, I'm gonna do also spool. Just freaking cooperate. Jeez. I'm gonna also right now do the little rim like we did before for the foot. That way I could drop in. I could just drop in the bottom of it, the bottom floor, if that makes sense. The bottom wall, the underside. Okay. We lost a hand. Monkey feet, don't fail me now. Come on. There we go. Bam. Nah, that broke. That bent nicely. Stay. Okay. Yeah. Ah, don't drop that pen now. Come on. I'm wondering if I should take the little needle nose clippers here and clip out this bottom piece. Probably use it for something, and he does not need it right now. He's going to be losing this underside of him anyway. Like cutting this up reminds me of like if anyone remembers when furniture used to be made differently, not better, just differently. And our parents might have had I think it's like rattan furniture. That's what it's called. The rattan furniture was like woven wood or wood like object. There we go. Was it worth the effort? I don't know. I mentioned rattan. I'm thinking of the circle came off. I'm thinking of when Adam Savage did his My Neighbor Totoro cosplay, and it was pretty much just that. It was like a frame on the inside made out of like light wood, rather than wire. It was just like the light wood material. All right. Once again, was it worth the effort? I don't know. We shall see. Come on, don't be weird. This music is like New York, New York. You see, so in the original drawing, the chest and the stomach are about the same length, right? So that's the chest, that's the stomach. We are actually a pinch longer than we need to be, of course we are, because why would things be roughly even? You know what? I'm not cut it yet. Let me not cut it yet. Alright, let's do one more wall. As the As the night goes on, my steadiness slowly wavers. Yes, I did just toss in a random piece in there just to get rid of it. So PLA is interesting because it's not biodegradable, but it is degradable, and I'm not sure what that really means because it's being advertised as like a friendlier plastic. But it's like, yeah, but does it, when you say it's degradable, does that mean it just breaks down to microplastic faster? Like, what exactly is like the plus side, you know? One of the reasons why I try to hold on to all the pieces I have. You know, if I don't have to get tossed into the ocean, why not? So I had to move away from the camera to just get this piece I needed into place. All right, there we go. What is going on here? Jeez. Yep, yeah, that recorded a lot for some reason. Okay. Now. Let's see if we could get this bottom piece done. If we could assemble this bottom piece, we've basically done the main shell. That needs to be in yellow. Details like his eyes, the front here that has the opening for the slot hole, for the actual where the coins come out, like that. That could be another day. But I think if we could get the main shell done, I'd be very happy. need to make sure that this piece is pretty sturdy, because essentially his legs are just a little pivot joint. So I need to make sure that that this base is strong enough to support the top of the body on it. In all honesty, I could have spent the time modeling this in a 3D printer, right? Because this body's pretty angular. Things like the hat, I could always like sculpt after the fact. But since my 3D printer isn't working, why would I model it for a 3D printer, you know? Oh, did I make it a pinch too short? Pinch too small? Might have. Now it's just that it's a piece I added. A little nub that's getting in the way. Oh, look at that. Okay, that slot's just right. Or I could probably trim some of the stuff I don't like off of this in the long run. Perfecto. A little bit of back and forth stitching. Yeah. All right. All right. Just getting rid of like maybe a quarter or so from the bottom here. Quarter inch, that is. still a bit long. But that's what sanding, we're going to be adding and subtracting, and adding. This is just a little bit larger than, from here to here, it's a little short compared to here to here. But it's not perfect anyway. Nothing's perfect. Just picking up a few random shards of plastic. I gotta vacuum the house after this. So much plastic. This, I might want to somehow. I might want to get rid of the slip a little bit. Might like taper it even more. Like I'll probably make a nice rectangular plank, put it in there at a bit more of an angle, and just trim off the edge here. But that plank needs a hole in it as well. Let me stand up and look at this. Yeah, once again, the head's big. The head's a bit big. But everything else seems to be pretty on point. Yeah, the head's a bit big. But, I think that's good. I think that's real good so far. He has round tubes for eyes. But I want to resize the head before I start making the eyes. Because the original circles were perfect, but we added the walls on the outside of them, which was a no-no. I should have done it on the inside. I should have folded the walls and then put the tube on top, and then put the lids on top and bottom. Yeah, things to think about. We still got a massive spool of yellow, so I can like literally redo this whole thing here. These I think are pretty on point though. Just filling in a few gaps here and there. All right. Let me unplug this. Actually, let me feed it out first. So you hold one button to feed forward, one button to completely feed back. If you hold the forward button to do your thing, and then release it, it automatically recoils back like maybe an inch or so to get the plastic away from the front. And you just unplug it to turn it off. Let me see if I could clean this off while it's still a little hot. And that is the pen. In case anyone's wondering, this is Scrib 3D. That's, let me see if I get the box for it. Yeah, it is. Scrib, S-C-R-I-B, the number 3 and D. Scrib 3D. This is the advanced pen. They have two. We still got a giant spool here. I can kind of see why they might have returned it. This was broken, probably broke when it was in the package and came to them. So when if this thing was to unravel on the 3D printer, it would just constantly get caught. Like even now, when I was physically turning it for myself, every so often it would get caught. Like I said, I got tons and tons of filament, short filaments just for the pen. So I got a lot of colors I could work with on a smaller scale. Or from the Amazon stores. We got a bunch of junk pieces I could probably use for filler. Let that cool off a bit. And I want to say that's it, guys. I want to say, yeah. What time is it? It's already like 12:30. We started at what? 9? So 3.5 hours. My first time doing like a 3.5 hour stream. And it's like pretty straightforward. I want to call it now. Solely because like this needs to all be, I mean, I can still do the front here if I want to, but I want this all to be cleaned up a bit more. You know, cleaned up, sanded, and then we can start doing the details. I could do the arm, the rest of the arm on this. I could do, you know, the eyes like I said. This will probably end up being, this whole piece here might get cut out. If I could put in the other details. Ooh, but I am yawning. I got friends to meet tomorrow, and there's no sense in me moving forward until I know for sure the exact proportions of the main body. But you hear that? It is a solid plastic piece. Like, that is the real gold right there. Like, that's the real, you know, the real reason we're doing it like this. Aside from practice. I need to practice with the pen anyway. But this gives us, like, an actual hard plastic toy that isn't resin. We are sculpting in plastic. I could have sculpted in clay. But, then I would have to paint it. Then I would have to, like, you know, make sure it doesn't get damaged or chipped. Cause, you know, the clay could... epoxy clay can break and damage. When it's a solid plastic, the color is literally baked into it. The color is all here. So yeah, that is the one-armed bandit. Thanks again to everyone who joined in. Thank you, Zero. Thank you everyone who's watching it in the future, of course. As always, these videos are saved on Instagram. Oh my god, Instagram, you hear me? Sorry, these videos are always saved on Twitch for about a week or so. Then they are taken down, but they are also permanently saved over on YouTube. You want to see previous streams, you want to see me working on the sprites for this guy, check out the most recent streams. Go over to my YouTube channel for that. Subscribe anywhere you want. If you want to see the sprite work saved, that's on Instagram, because that's the work in progress. You can see the sprite stuff there. I am on Twitter as or X or whatever, as the icons indicate in the corner. But I have also made an account on Cara, C-A-R-A, the recently created art community, C-A-R-A, Cara. I have not yet transferred a lot of my artwork to that account, but I am there as well. So yeah, that's that. And once again, guys, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.